Hi there, my name's Kev Johnson. I'm Senior Systems Engineer at Runecast Solutions. You can catch me on the Twitters at Kev_Johnson. I'm just here today to talk a little bit about how we can make your life easier when you're starting to look at security standards and being compliant with them. Let me just move that out of the way over there. There we go. So I'm going to keep this super short. I was a consultant for a long time. I've worked for customers, and this guy comes around all the time. And he's the audit busy season guy, and he's a pain in the backside. And what happens is you've got the audit coming, you've got 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you know you're not going to be compliant, otherwise, unless everyone else throws their all hands to the pump. So everyone breaks their necks trying to get compliant. Hopefully you get compliant. He comes in and goes, yeah, okay, you're compliant, well done. Everything goes back to how it was until next year. So you drift straight out of compliance. And then next year, you've got this crazy period again. So really, I'm just here now to talk to you about how we avoid this guy. And literally, that is enough with the slideware. So, let's have a look at the product. I don't want to drown you in slides here. So, as you may know from previous examples of Runecast Analyzer, we cover a whole bunch of stuff. But when we start looking specifically at security compliance, we've got this, super scope of different features that we can throw at you. So we've got coverage for the VMware guidelines out of the box. So we're going to scan your vSphere environment, your NSX environment, your Horizon environment against all of the published VMware guidelines. So we're going to flag to you where there's these problems. We also cover DSysTig. So DSysTig is updated every quarter. So every quarter we release an update that gives you the latest version of DSysTig. So if you want to scan against that, or PCI DSS, or HIPAA, or BSI. So if you don't know what BSI is, that's cool. It's a super important German federal standard. If you think of it as being a little bit like maybe the German version of NIST. There's also the Center for Internet Security, and we work really closely with the CIS folks. I did a webinar with them a couple of months ago, and they're super, super smart, and they really want to help people to really, really improve their security posture. So we are CIS certified for vSphere and also for AWS. And with the recent release of Runecast Analyzer 4.5.0, we've just introduced the Kubernetes support. So that comes with CIS out of the box. So we're hoping to be able to make a big announcement about CIS certification for Kubernetes too. So what we can show is, from here, we can see very, very quickly, here's all the problems that we've got. If we were trying to become PCI DSS compliant, we've got a lot of work to do. So if we have a look, maybe we want to filter down and maybe just look at the vSphere, or we just want to have a look at, in fact, the first thing we'll do, let's have a look only at the things that we're failing. So we've got, in this tiny environment, 173 non-compliance issues. And from that perspective, we need to fix this. So the first thing here we can see is, we need to ensure that the ESXi host firewall is enabled. Now, something that's kind of unique to Runecast Analyzer in this respect is how we help you to map the data that your auditors are going to be interested in. So I don't know if anyone's had to deal with an auditor for like a PCI DSS audit or anything like that. They're going to talk to you about milestones. They're going to talk to you about control IDs. And as a vSphere administrator, I did not know what the hell was going on. So, what you have to do is you get someone else in who translates that. And we do that for you. So we kind of say, okay, well, you're looking at milestone 2. Let's filter based on milestone 2 then in that case. And we can do that and see, okay, well, all of these things, we've managed to reduce that number down to 33 now. And now we can see specifically each control ID. So control ID 114 is just around building and maintaining a secure network. So this all seems like it should be common sense. But if you look at the terminology in the PCI DSS standard, and this is not unique to PCI DSS, none of it is specific to vSphere. It's all very, very high-level technology agnostic. You just need to do it securely. And from that perspective, what we do is we take that information, we translate it into a technical description. And from a technical description perspective, what we're giving you here is, this is how you apply this specific control ID to a vSphere environment, or to an AWS environment, or to a Kubernetes environment, for example. So here we can see, we need to make sure that the ESXi firewall is turned on. It's really easy to do. You can do it with any number of different ways, but a really simple way is you can just do ESX CLI network firewall get. That will return to you whether it's either true or false. Happy days, on you go. And then if it turns out that it's false, and we can show you where this is going to be the case, because we show you in the findings, here we go. This specific ESXi host, the host firewall status is disabled. So we need to go in and turn that on. There's a whole bunch of other things in here. If we wanted to start looking at the various different standards, obviously, what I would recommend is only turn on the standards within the product that you're going to be interested in. So from that perspective, in fact, let's have a look at our dashboard here. So from that perspective, we can see we're hitting 50% security compliance in this environment. It's not a good place to be. It's not a good look at all. So, that's because I've got all of the standards turned on. And maybe in your environment, you don't need to be DISA STIG compliant. So we can deal with all of that from our settings. We can just turn on the relevant profiles that we're interested in. And go on. There we go. So we've got everything turned on. Generally, you're going to want to just go with the VMware guidelines and maybe, whichever ones are relevant to you, PCI DSS or HIPAA or NIST or whichever of these ones are relevant. Once we've got that, we can have a look at the all issues view. So from here, we can see, maybe we want to look specifically at our PCI DSS findings. And we can see what's been going on over the course of the last week or so. So in the last week, everything was looking super good down here. But then all of a sudden, we get this big spike. And this big spike should be ringing alarm bells, because that means you've drifted out of compliance. So maybe you want to have a look and compare that with the previous result, and we can see all of these new things that have appeared. So we're now breaching our password policy. Maybe that's because we've changed our password policy. All of these, ensure S3 buckets are only accessible through HTTPS. So this is not just for vSphere. This is for AWS as well. This is for Kubernetes as well. So we're going to give you all of this information, and the idea being that you've got this one product with which you can see all of the information you're relevant to. I was going to show you our VRO plugin. So we have a plugin for VRO. However, I identified a regression in our code base from the last release, which unfortunately broke our VRO plugin. So I'm not going to show you that, but I will have a video that I can share with you. If anyone's interested in that after the event, hit me up on Twitter as @Kev_Johnson, and I'll be more than happy to pick those up. But just one very last thing from a security compliance perspective. A lot of organizations have they've got to be compliant with those industry standards, those PCI DSSs, the CIS, the NISTs, but also a lot of organizations have rule sets that they want to check on top of that. And in our recent release, we introduced this concept of custom profiles. So you might want to say, okay, turn on CIS, but also I want to have some extra rules. And we've got 2,500 rules that you can use within the appliance. Create yourself a custom profile, and we can scan against all of that and provide all of that information in your reporting capabilities as well.
So this is great. It reminds me of products I've used before, and it's awesome, and I love it. Is there a print, not a printout, but is there a report that you guys generate based on you are compliant, so that makes it easier for people dealing with the auditors?
Yeah. So, I mean, from any of these areas within the product, we've got this export capability up in the top right. And you can kick out a PDF, or you can kick out a CSV, or you can just copy it into your clipboard and paste it. And some of our partners, they use this kind of capability. They'll drop it into a CSV. They'll do some further data manipulation, and then they'll provide this kind of compliance report to their customers as a service.
I have a question for the PCI DDS. You can connect to Horizon for example, but can you do like sys compliancy also within a domain?
So we're looking specific. When you say within a domain, are you talking about Active Directory?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So from a sys perspective, we've got coverage for vSphere 6567. We've got AWS. We've got Kubernetes. There's no Windows in there as things stand at the moment. But that's all I will say on that matter is the as things stand at the moment.
Yeah.
We work really, really closely with the team at CIS. So, expect some cool stuff in the not too distant future, I guess.
Hi, Kevin. Nico here. Quick question. Well, this is straight. I work in the financial industry, so I'm being audited pretty much all year round. And it plays into what was mentioned earlier. What would be great is this plan that so let's say the firewall is disabled, right? So I know the firewall is disabled. Can I have it automated as just pretty much the one-click button solution, which is you found all of those things not in compliance, and I just hit the button and it does it for me?
Yeah, so I would have shown you our VRO plugin and what we can do with that, especially from a PCI DSS compliance perspective. But we broke it in our last release, so that was always, it was always going to happen. As soon as I was coming on Tech Field Day, I would find something broken an hour before our presentation. But I'd be more than happy to kind of pick up with you a little later, and we can talk about not only what we can do right now with our VRO plugin once we fix it, but also, in terms of where we're going in the future as well, because we do get asked regularly, what options do we have to automate remediation? And it's a big ask, and it's something, we really want to help our customers in that fashion.
So I have a follow-up question. When you're looking at the different compliance schemas, it looked like there was kind of a drop-down list. And so if you're comparing multiple methodologies against each other, I wonder if there's a way to see where there's conflicts. That's one thing that we've seen with our clients, is often going after one certification or audit can actually put you out of compliance with another. And so I wonder if there's a way to see those conflicts where being in compliance in one area may actually put you out of compliance in another. That's
a really good question, actually. Thanks for that, Chris. So in terms of that, we don't really have anything where we show that. Yeah, I guess, if you've done enough to be compliant here, but you've not necessarily done enough to be compliant with another standard. So one of the things that we do have, I'm conscious I've got 1 minute left, so I'm going to have to be super quick. PCI DSS, we were asked to build this capability for customizable checks. So customizable checks, things like maybe you want to specify a specific NTP server, or you want to have a password policy that goes above and beyond basic PCI DSS. So you can come in here, and we can customize the value that you're going to check against. So that might be potentially what you're looking for. But in terms of highlighting this to you as a customer, I think that's one of those things where I'm going to have to note that down and put the check in the post once we look at getting a feature like that into the product. So great idea. Thanks, Chris.